son. And then the mother is like, whoa, how did she know I have a 3-year-old son? Because Facebook knows your entire soul. But that's really, really cool. If you have a birthday coming up and you want to sell a doll, you can say, hey, I know you have a birthday in October, and for this month only, I am making a 3-for-2 sale. And then you run that to people that have birthdays in October. So you're creative, your ability to be creative is unbelievable. I'm about to do that, the competition I told you about in Latin America, where I brought 2 people to Silicon Valley. I'm about to do it again this year. And I will run specific video ads for every single country. I will say, Guatemala, you won last year, are you going to win again this year? And then guess where I put that ad? To entrepreneurs that are between 18 and 35-year-olds that live in Guatemala City. You run an ad on TV, you run an ad on the radio, first of all, nobody's watching it, nobody's listening to it. And if they are watching it, you have no idea if they're your target audience. You have no idea when their birthday is, you have no idea how many kids they have, you have no idea how much money they make. I can run, if I'm doing a catering company, I can run birthday, I can run anniversary, and I know how much money your household makes. If I'm doing a cheap, low-cost daycare center, I can say, listen, I know you got kids, I know that times are a little tough right now, and I know that you're probably trying to think about how you can spend your extra $1,000 a month the smartest way possible, because you're probably not making more than $40,000 a year, and I get that. I'm here for you. And you run into people that are making $40,000 or less a year. Nobody's doing this right. Nobody understands this. And if you can understand it, your brand will completely dominate. And guess what? All you need to do that, all you need is this. You don't have to hire us. You don't have to hire anybody. And you put it up. And you spend some money, $30 a week that you're making extra on the daycare center, put it into Facebook ads, and you will get more clients. Pretty sweet. Questions? Yes?
It's off the topic.
It's okay.
But
I'm ADD.
I want to ask you, instead of selling something, you want to get funded instead.
Good question. What do you want to get funding for? The neglected children thing?
Yeah, because I want to like bring, instead of like this being local, I just want it to like go international.
Yeah.
Go up.
Yeah.
In New York. So I sold a lot of things.
Where did you grow up in New York?
In city, but in Boca Chica,
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's like a small neighborhood around the yard itself, which are poor, and they don't have resources, food, medical assistance, you can see where food, no clothes, and stuff like that.
Yep.
Or they don't even go to school, they don't have uniform,
Yep.
and parents can't afford.
I got an idea for you. I got an idea for you. Ready? Here's what you do. So, I would probably start an interview show with successful Dominican Americans that have made money. And I would use it as a mentorship show. Okay. So here's what I do. I find 10 successful Dominicans that either came from the DR, live in New York now, or that were born, that are Dominican of background, but were born in New York. There's lots of them here, right? And you say, what's your name?
Jennifer.
You say, my name's Jennifer, and I'm really committed to providing mentorship to children, neglected children in the Dominican Republic. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do a 10-part mentorship series program. And I've identified you as one of the most successful Dominicans in the country. And I'd like to know if you'd come on my show and let me interview you about your path. Okay? Watch how this plays out. That's easy. You can do that. And everyone, listen, humans love to talk about themselves. You know, if you tell me, yo, Brian, like, I've identified you as one of the most successful entrepreneurs in New York City, and I talk to you, I'll be like, yep, for as long as you want. Because we love talking about ourselves. Right? So, Jennifer does a YouTube show, right? Interviewing the top 10 Dominican entrepreneur success stories. Okay? You put that together, you edit it. What you can do next is you start uploading these videos, and you in the description you say tag your favorite Dominican success story. Now you're gonna name. They're gonna tag. You're gonna reach out to those people, and you're gonna do a couple different things. You're gonna either say, number one, can I interview you? Or number two, after you've done the work of interviewing people, you can start asking people if they would contribute to your next season's series. So this was season 1, you're gonna do this for free. You're gonna produce something awesome, right? You're gonna buy a cheap camera, you're gonna do, you know, there's you can do it on your phone, you're gonna do something great. You can do 3, 4, 5 videos, right? You're gonna go to the DR this summer, you're gonna show it to the kids in the neighborhoods, and then you're gonna film that. You're gonna send that film to these 3, 4, 5 people that run your show, and you're gonna say, thank you so much for being on the show. Look at what you did to improve these kids' lives. Okay? Now you have that video content as well. Next year, you're gonna say, I'd like to interview you, I've identified you as a leader. I was also wondering if you would be willing to contribute $100 to my foundation. And you keep doing that, and every person that comes onto your show, because by now you've had some traction, you have some people watching, and you're almost like selling advertising to these people, but you're not really. You can word it in a couple of ways. You can say, we get about 1,000 views a show. I'd love to have you on. I just asked the guests to contribute $100 to the foundation. All the money goes to the foundation. You get, let's just do the math. You get 100 people in New York to give you $100. What is that? 100 times 100. That's 10,000. You guys are worse at math than me. Wow. That's $10,000.
Are you kidding me?
It's a pretty good start. You could raise $10,000 in the next 24 months for your foundation. And then it becomes easier to raise money because all of a sudden now you have 10,000. Now you have momentum. You know the best way to feel good about your business? Momentum. It's the best thing ever. When you feel like you have a little bit of momentum, that's why I said celebrate your first $100 sale. Celebrate your first $100 donation. Put that everywhere. That's what I do. Start a show with successful people and then ask them to contribute. And then what you can do is once you have some following, which might take 3, 4, 5 years, but you're like 18 years old right now, so you have time. Whatever, 21. You're still young. Very young. If I was when I was 21, I was just like getting as drunk as I could and like making out with as many girls as possible. I'm so inspired when I see like 21-year-olds like ask about like how can I start something for orphans? I'm like, dude, you're so much more advanced than I was. Seriously. So you're 21. By the time you're 28, there's no reason that if you dedicated time to this every year, you couldn't have a foundation. That's how I look at it. People will donate $100. I'll be the first $100 donor to your thing. You don't even have to. I got you. Oh, email me. Who else wants to donate a little bit of money? How many people would donate $5, Jennifer, right now? Dude, this is 1, 2. Keep your hands up, because I'm coming for you. All of you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's okay for those of you who don't have your hands up. Don't worry about it. There's no shame. There's no shame in being cheap as shit. 16 times 5. Okay, here we go. We're about to raise like more than $100 for you, just because you took action. $80 plus my 100, give $180. All right. So with that $180, what I want you to, and by the way, every one of you that just raised your hand, you better do it for $5. You go buy a camera with that $180. All right. And you're off to the races. Email me. I'll put my email up here. Email me, remind me, and I'll have my assistant send you the rest. All right. So. No one, I'm not giving any more money, guys. Everyone's like, oh, that's it. Like I have, and also we should talk because I'm about to do a project for children in the Dominican Republic that are orphans as well. I'm actually creating a documentary film, and they are going to shoot and edit it. I'm going to teach them how to shoot and edit documentary films, and so maybe you want to be a part of that too. Okay. Question. No, I'm not giving you any money for your daycare.
How do you feel about Kickstarters or GoFundMe's for your Kickstarter?
They're great. They're great. I'm a huge fan of crowdfunding. Kickstarter, GoFundMe, Indiegogo. These are platforms platforms where you can get people to give you money if they believe in your project. That's totally fine. You have to be careful because the Kickstarter, I think it is, if you put down the goal at 5,000, for example, and you make 4,999, you don't get anything, right? Is it Kickstarter that does that one? Indiegogo, you can put whatever number you want, and whatever you raise, you can get. GoFundMe as well. So Kickstarter is the only one that you have to hit your goal to get all the money. So Indiegogo is probably better. I think they take a little bit more, but it's, if you're not really sure if you can hit the goal, it's better to be able to get that 4,999 instead of getting nothing. Other questions? Great questions, guys. Who else has thoughts? Yes?
My neighbor is getting on my nerves. She has...
Can I move to your apartment?
So she's getting on my nerves. She makes these holistic products.
Yep.
And the only platform that she uses is Facebook. And she wants me to help endorse her brand. But it's like, you know, like it's one of those things where...
Ask her, but when you say she wants you to help endorse her brand, what does that mean?
Go on Facebook and leave a commentary about like how the product was and I tried it.
And what, you don't want to?
It's not bad. I'm trying to convince her to expand, and she doesn't see why she should expand. So how would you express to someone that they need to, you know, expand in different markets and stuff like that? She says that she's not getting as many clients as she wants.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things. You're a very kind person for caring so much about your neighbor who annoys you. But so the first thing is this: I would probably send her like a couple of my videos and be like, look, this guy is like talking about how you should expand. Because if you've kept telling her it's not working, you need to send another. It's like sending another messenger, right? If you're talking to your mom and your mom is not listening to you, you send in your brother. You hope that works, right? So send in somebody else. And the second thing is, you try to a point and then you let it go. Like I spend zero time trying to convince anyone. And this stuff I'm talking about right now, if one of you does it, I'm happy. If 99% of you are like, I'm not going to do this, I don't care. My life doesn't change at all if you do this or not, right? And so you shouldn't spend too much of your energy. She shouldn't be driving you nuts. That's letting her get in under your skin. You should use that energy to do your own thing, right? Other question, yes? Are you going to go tell her right now?
Yes.
Question. If someone wants to put a GoFundMe page for single mothers maybe our kids who don't have enough money to support them
Yep.
and themselves,
Yep.
will that work?
Well, will that work is a tough question for me to answer because there's a lot of variables, but you can try it. The thing you have to be pretty laser focused about is what exactly are you providing. And there's a lot of, what I love doing these talks for the Hostos kids. See you later, man. Thanks for coming.
I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Get that lotion on your face. There's a lot of dreamers, and I'm a dreamer, and you're all dreamers, and I love that about Hostos, and I love that about the humans. We all come with like, and there's a lot of service. Like we all want to help, you know. There's a lot of people. Like, that's what I hear from uni students all the time. The issue is when you cast a really, really wide net, it makes it difficult. So like even in Jennifer's case, where it's like helping orphans or neglected and abused children in the DR, is pretty wide. I would probably get narrow, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing, which is I'm going to take 4 kids and I'm going to teach them how to make film. And then I'm going to have those 4 kids go to different orphanages in the Dominican Republic and teach the other kids how to make film. So I'm starting very, very narrow. I think the tendency that we have as dreamers is like, I want to support all single mothers and help them care for their kids. It's like, dude, like the government has billions of dollars to try to do that. No, we don't need to talk about government. So that's why I believe so much in what's happening here. I actually think that this is the solution. I think that we are the solution. I think that our speed is the solution, and that's why I don't work with the government. So you need to think about, just start with a very specific project. Start with like South Bronx single mothers who cannot pay for their first child's first semester of kindergarten. You know what I mean? Like, I would get that narrow, because from there we can build. From there we can, we teach 4 kids how to make a documentary film. Now all of a sudden the documentary film is the New York City Dominican Film Festival. Now all of a sudden the Dominican Republic minister of tourism is at the film festival and comes to me and says, hey, I like what you did, can you do that for the country? That is how it works. But if I started by saying, I want to teach all orphans in the Dominican Republic how to make film, no one would take me seriously. And they won't take you seriously, and they won't take you seriously. And even though our intentions are good, and eventually, and this is what I mean, like it's a long game, eventually we can get to all of the people that we want to. Like I want to get in front of billions of people with my content, and I will. Last year we got in front of about 3.5 million people, which is cool. And that was with very little ad spend, and we're still pretty lean, and 7 people on the team. So, but I know that by the time I'm 60, I'll be able to hit that billion. And so by the time you're 60, you'll be able to actually help like every single mom in the state of New York, but start with like 3 in the South Bronx that have 1 3-year-old kid. That's my advice for any of us that are like trying to change the world. Then it builds on each other. Question?
I have a question. I understand that people who are on YouTube and they make money on YouTube,
Yep.
they get paid.
Yep.
So for someone who wants to start their own platform and make their own business, they could also advertise through YouTube to what I'm asking, so I'm not really sure. To one get paid through YouTube and with the GoFundMe page as well, or is that all right?
So you can market on YouTube. You can. It's a little bit. I haven't done a lot of marketing on YouTube. Facebook and Instagram work really well for me. So I focus most all of my marketing dollars on Facebook and Instagram. And I think that if you guys have marketing dollars to spend for those of you, yes, you do.
How much?
It's very cheap. So the numbers are like this. It's pay per click, but it's more like targeted. So if you spend $7 on Facebook, you can get in front of between 1,000 and 2,000. 1,000 to 2,000 people. So targeted people, which is extremely cheap. Extremely cheap. So even if you have a $50 Facebook budget a month, you can still get in front of between 5 to 10,000 targeted people. It depends on a couple different things. Number 1, how good is your creative? Number 2, how detailed is your, because you have about 3 seconds to get their attention. Which is why I was saying earlier about the anniversaries and the birthdays. You have to literally say, if you are Dominican and living in the South Bronx, pay attention to this. That's got to be your first 3 seconds. Does that make sense? So it depends on that. And then the other thing that you have to be really careful about is, and think through strategically is, there has to be a call to action, which is like, so there's 2 different things. There's the brand side of things, right? Which is like, I just want people to know who I am, which is 99% of my content, and in fact, all of my content, aside from like maybe 1 or 2 things a year, is just a straight brand thing. I'll put this talk up. I'm not selling anything to people that watch this video. There's nothing I'm selling. I just want people to be inspired, to know who I am, maybe to pass it along to their instructor. I don't know. I don't have an agenda with it. But I know that that's my brand. I want people to pay it. I want people to know who I am. Now, if you're selling something, right, there's a couple different things you can do. Number 1 is you actually just make a sale, which is, hey, I'm Andrea, and if you have a child between 1 and 5 in the South Bronx, I am offering this month a deal for you at my daycare. That's number 1. It's a straight sale. I'm selling dolls. I'm selling a catering company. I'm an event planner. You should hire me. And if you're going to make a sale, make a sale. Like, don't bury it in the last 3 seconds of your video where you talk for 2 minutes about your passion and why and if you want to hire me, no. That's number 1. Number 2 is you can actually use the brand videos. This is important. And I know there's a lot of information here, guys, so please ask questions if it's too much, too fast. But you can actually, on Facebook and Instagram, do retargeting. Meaning, if I make a video about my neglected children project, right? Let's say I make a 3-minute video with the Espaillat. Espaillat is is an assemblyman here, Dominican assemblyman. Let's say Espaillat is on your thing, right? Or Unitas Rodriguez up in Washington. Let's say you interview him, okay? And let's say the interview is 8 minutes long. And you put that 8-minute interview up. You can actually know how many people watched 25, 50, 75, 100% of that 8-minute video. which is really crazy. Because if I watched 8 minutes of your 8-minute video, or 6 minutes, or even 4 minutes of your 8-minute video, what do you know about? I'm highly interested in what you're talking about. So I can run a retargeted video where I would say something like, hey, I hope you enjoyed the interview that I did last week with Assemblyman Espaillat. We touched on a lot of things, mostly about how much we love the Dominican Republic. Amen. And you know, I know that you probably also love the Dominican Republic, and you hopefully found it useful. If you did, I'm taking preliminary $100 donations. Please click below to find that button, and then I run that to the people that watch 6 or 8 minutes of the video. And let's say 1,000 people watch the video, 300 of those 1,000 watch 4 minutes of that video. Now I'm in front of the 300 most relevant people from that relevant video. That's crazy, guys. That's why it's the best time ever, whoever asked me, to build a business. Because these tools just did not exist before. You were at the mercy of putting that in my hands as your ad agency, and you are one of 122 different clients, and I actually don't even care about it.
And then you get paid for people watching the video.
In YouTube, you can get paid for people watching your videos. You don't get paid for people watching your videos on Facebook unless advertisers are on your site. But that's going to take some time. You need to have a certain number of views, a certain amount of minutes watched. I don't even have advertisers on my site that produce a tremendous amount of content. So that takes time. I would say initially don't count on YouTube or Facebook advertising as a revenue source. Meaning they're paying you to go on your site. Focus more on how can I make money now with what I'm offering, with my dolls, with my catering company, with my event planning, with my car ride sharing, whatever. Right? Makes sense? Other questions? Yes.
Say you're on a platform dedicated to some people, they could be like podcasts or whatever it is.
Yep.
You have like a small following where you want to grow,
Yep.
and you want more people to check you out. How do you, is there like a way you can promote yourself?
So what do? Let's go into your specific case.
So I do music and stuff like that, and a little bit like audio engineering and stuff like that.
So do you produce your own podcast, or do you produce other people's podcasts?
A little bit of both.
And where do you want to focus more energy when you're doing?
I want to focus on making my own content
Your own
and
content.
have other people check me out.
Yeah. So there's a couple different ways you can do it. Number one, you can do this Facebook ad strategy, and you can. So let's just say that who would be your competitor? Who is like the most well-known person that you know that's doing something similar to what you want to do? Like give me a name. Like if you're doing a podcast about music, right? Who else does podcasts about music that have a lot of viewers?
He doesn't do it often, but let's say.
Okay, Anthony Fantana, right? I have no idea who he is, but it doesn't matter. What you do is you literally put up a 30-second soundbite of your podcast. You run a Facebook ad, and you can target 18 to 25-year-olds that live in the Bronx, making this up, that also follow Anthony Fantana. Now all of a sudden, everyone that followed Anthony Fantana, like if I wanted to do motivational stuff, I would put Tony Robbins in. People that follow Tony Robbins will see this video. That's pretty crazy, right? So now all of a sudden, his fans, you already know, like the kind of stuff you're talking about, will figure out who you are. That's number one. The second thing that I would do, and this requires a little bit of work, a lot of work, is I would ask Anthony Fantana to be on your podcast.
Yeah.
I would ask people that already have followings to be on your podcast, and because what they're going to do is they're going to be on it, they're going to put an Instagram story up and be, yo, thanks to my boy for having me on today, it was fun, boom, and then all of a sudden you get 32 new followers. And that's how it grows. The third thing that I would do, and that's true for all of you, if you want to be influencers in different spaces, hey, if you want to do influencers in different spaces, you find the influencers that are there already. And there are these big, Tony Robbins obviously has millions of people following him, Charlamagne the God has millions of people, but they're probably not going to come on your podcast. But there are people that have 100,000 followers, that have 38,000 followers, that have 10,000 followers, and any exposure is good exposure, right? So the third thing that I would do is if you have the followers you have now, ask them, what else can I do? Make them feel appreciated. Everybody wants more followers without focusing on the ones that they already have. Everyone wants to know, how can I get 100 more followers, but you haven't done anything for the 38 you have already? What makes you think that when you have 100 more, or 1,000 more, or 100,000 more followers, you're going to treat them any differently than you treat the ones that you already have when you have 38 now? If you can't treat the 38 that you have now well, why would you ever be able to treat 380,000 now? Start with the ones you have, appreciate them, ask what you can do for them. That's how it goes. I slept like 2 hours last night because I was so fucking excited for today. Shit excited for today. I was like, dude, I love Jason's crew. All right, what else? What else can I help with? What other questions do we have? I know we still have some time. Yep.
LLCs.
LLCs. Limited liability corporations.
So most places fees is where you have one of the cheapest.
I think LegalZoom. I think LegalZoom offers a pretty cheap one. So an LLC is a way of incorporating, so you can have a business. And the advantage of an LLC is that you can start to write off things as expenses. So if I fly to Miami tomorrow to meet with a client, I can write that $300 airplane ticket off and take that against my income. So if I make $100,000 this year, if I made $100,000 working for the government, I have to pay $40,000 in taxes. If I make $100,000 this year as an entrepreneur, as the owner of an LLC, and I spend $95,000, I only have to pay taxes on the $5,000. So I end up paying about $2,000 in taxes instead of $40,000 in taxes. That's the advantage of having an LLC. Right. It's a company, right? It protects your. It's right. You're right. It protects. So there's your personal assets. So if I have $100,000 in the bank, and that's Brian's money, and I have $15,000 in the bank, that's my company's money. Something goes wrong with the client, they sue me. They only have access to that $15,000. They can't touch my personal money. That's another advantage of LLC. So I think if you're serious about starting a business, do it. It's about $800. I think I paid about an $800 fee every year that I paid to the state. And then I forget, like 6 years ago, I forget what I charged, what I paid, but I think it was like $300 or $400. But LegalZoom is probably the fastest. It is very important, and there's a lot of benefit. There's no reason not to. Yes.
What would be the difference between a corporation and
An LLC is a type of corporation. So there's S corps, there's LLCs. Probably for most of yeah.
Would that be different from the LLC?
Well, it's a type of it. There are different types of corporations.
So corporations pay more tax, but they have to pay
I
tax
feel like
twice.
four months before, but I don't know, I mean, in the long run, it's different.
Yeah.
But I was wondering what would be the difference?
I probably would say an LLC for most of us in this room is a good place to start, but you should consult an attorney. I went to law school, but I'm not an attorney, so I only like to say things that I really don't work. So you should see what would work for your particular business. I have an LLC. You have an LLC. You want an LLC? Yeah, an LLC is a good place to start for most people. But again, consult your advantage. That's what happens when you raise your hand. You're up. You used to it. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So it's like, yeah, Jennifer, like,
You want to give Jennifer money too?
well, I was born in Mexico, but my mother is Asian.
You see how she just avoided that question? She's like, listen, I was born in Turks and Caicos. I'm like, that doesn't sound like I'm going to give her $5. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. And I usually, when I go to Haiti, there's people in the neighborhood that's like good people. And sometimes like I'll look at personally at what I have. And I, especially when I had a good job, I used to like,
Did she work for you now, Jason? Was that like, she's like, when I had a good job. That was not a very smooth moment right there. When I had a good job, before this job.
I mean, I'm gonna what now?
I don't see that. Yeah, that's right.
And I would go over to things like Twitch kids that does really good in school.
Yeah.
Then there's folks who are those earlier teenagers that like here, they'll have something to start from.
Yeah.
But
distracted because Jennifer threw both of her hands up in the
Yeah.
air violently.
I know, I saw that, I was
rapidly.
like, okay.
I just saw that, like, how do you get other people to help? I was like, are we starting to wave here? So, wait, so I lost track of your last part of your question because I was like, why is she raising both of her hands?
So what I do, like.
You want someone to help you help other people.
Which, so it's like,
What were you gonna say with both
I
hands
was
in
gonna
there?
say, cause that's the thing, like, I want to start the program, and it can start off in
Yeah.
So then
As long as it
if she
stays
wants
on.
to read, that gives me a connection with expand the other countries that actually need it.
So she basically just tried to acquire this. Yeah, she's like, so I'm gonna buy.
It's all to her.
So,
Because-
so the
Because a lot
specifics
of
of your.
time, people don't really, you say, okay, it's bad, so I feel like everywhere is bad, but there's always some part that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there are a couple different things, and I do believe, so and so I always like to hear the question and then hear the question underneath the question. And the question is clear. The question underneath the question is more, for me, more interesting in this case, which is, I think that all of you, all of us, and I remind myself this a lot because I am very social, service driven. I can't take pictures when I'm talking. All right, so think about something, which is, you should try to make as much money as you possibly can personally to be good. I just funded that whole thing I told you last year about the Uniting Americans thing. It cost me about $100,000. I spent $100,000 of my own dollars on that. There's no way that I could have done what I did last year if I was broke. So I used a lot of my money that I made last year in my business to give back to the Latino community because I genuinely want that and I care about that. And if you care so much about the Asian community, then what I would say is, like, find another good job and then build something on the side, honestly. Because these things take time. And even nonprofits, I think that, I'm a bit controversial about nonprofits. Most nonprofits are complete shit. So I think that, and most nonprofits people are doing for their own ego because they think this will make them feel better as a person, and they're actually eating so much of the money that they're making for their own salary. And it's like, I mean, I'm not trying to say that all nonprofits are bad. I've worked with a few that I think are very good. But I think for the most part, I think that because we live in a society where it is possible to make money doing things that we care about and then investing that money wherever we want, I think I would probably look there. Because if you are at the mercy of donations of other people to do things that you love, you are basically in the exact same position as having a job for a boss. Because you are no longer in control. I like to be in control. So I've taken a lot, and by the way, I'm not saying like I like to be in control and I have it all figured out. No, I don't. But what I've done is I have basically cut spending in every area of my life that is not 100% necessary. You would be blown away. Like I've had this. Who commented on my outfit today? That was kind of thank you. I've worn this outfit for the last like 8 years. Like I have this jacket for this is like 8 years old. You know, I wear a pair of shoes every day for like 3 years because they literally fall apart. My dad's like, dude, you really need to change your shoes.
I can still walk to school.
But here's the thing. For me, I don't care about stuff at all. I care about creating. I care about investing my money in experiences and in my team and in creating beautiful projects. I don't need a fancy anything. I hate cars. I hate watches. And that if you love cars and you love watches, that's great. I'm not telling you not love what you love. I'm just telling you that most of you that really have a dream are still spending $100 extra a week on food you don't need to eat and shoes you don't need to wear because you're trying to keep up with somebody in your neighborhood that's shit. That's broke and that has no dreams. Their dreams are the shoes.
Oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry, I just had to say it, like, I have a friend,
It's okay.
not really a friend, but yesterday she
Are you gonna give Jennifer $5 or not?
I have a friend, right? And then she texted me yesterday and said she has a wig person. Now, I'm not really a wig person. I'm like, okay, how much is the wig? She said $450.
Yep.
I said to her, I'm not on your level yet.
You're like, that's like a new camera.
She was like, oh, well, mind you, she's not working.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
I know, but that's not the then that's her business.
Oh, you know this person?
Why?
Is she talking about you? Are you guys fighting right now? Jason, call the cops. It's about to get
No,
crazy.
I understand that's what I'm saying, but, I don't mind, there's nothing wrong with that. But she doesn't have a job. She's buying wigs that's like the same price for her, and I'm like, yo.
All right,
first of
but
all, you
let
live
me-
with your parents and you spending that much money on.
All right, but let me stop. Let me stop you for a second. Let me stop you. Listen, I appreciate the passion, and I love you guys. I love the passion that comes from the poet. But let me tell you something. Hey, are you gonna give $5? So, let me tell honey, I need me too. So listen, both of you, I love your passion, I really do. But like, the fact that we're still talking about this chick's wig is already like, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed right now. Because it's like, it doesn't matter. I don't, like, you shouldn't care. I don't care what you spend money on. I don't care at all. I care about what I spend money on. And I know what makes me happy. What I'm trying to tell all of you is this. There are so many societal pressures right now to do things, to be taken seriously, and let me tell you, please listen, if you don't listen to anything else, let me tell you this. All of these societal pressures that you are hearing are coming from people that either are gonna gain money on you, right? They are making you feel bad about your shoes because they are secretly selling shoes. Or that they are so unbelievably unfulfilled and insecure in their own life. Like, I feel bad. If the $450 wig chick actually doesn't love every single ounce of that hair, I feel legitimately sorry for her. Because there's something much, much deeper happening in her life. And I'm not going to judge her for it.